The early 1800s, a period of dramatic change, marked by the upheavals of Napoleon's European conquests. Among the figures caught within this shifting world was a Portuguese prince, Dom Pedro. But his story is not one of simple inheritance. It is a study of unexpected decisions and the foundation of a new nation. We will examine how events pushed him away from his ancestral homeland toward a destiny he neither sought nor could have imagined across the vast Atlantic. Born in 1798, Pedro was the son of King John VI of Portugal. His upbringing was within a court bound by tradition, though this stability was about to be shattered. Napoleon's ambition sent shockwaves across Europe. In 1807, fearing the arrival of French troops, the Portuguese royal family made a momentous decision. They abandoned their kingdom, sailing across the ocean to establish a new base in their wealthy colony of Brazil. The young Pedro, just 9 years of age, was a witness to this flight, a move that would redefine his entire existence. The city of Rio de Janeiro became the temporary seat of the Portuguese court, a center of governance in the southern hemisphere. This removal of power created an unusual circumstance. Brazil, once a peripheral territory, now held the heart of the Portuguese Empire. The effect of this switch of center would have significant effects on Brazil and Pedro. As years went on, many Brazilians began to resent Portugal's control. They felt their resources were being used for the benefit of Europe, with minimal returns for the colony. This discontent grew into widespread calls for local autonomy and self-governance. The Portuguese court, now settled in Brazil, failed to understand the shifting atmosphere. They attempted to return the government to Lisbon, which further aggravated Brazilian elites. These elites and others within the colony saw Pedro's presence as a potential means of independence without complete chaos. Instead of viewing him as a representative of Portugal, they came to view him as a leader of a new nation. This created a political powder keg, with Pedro in the middle. He was the heir to the Portuguese throne, yet he was living in Brazil, feeling the power of Brazilian sentiment. In 1822, the Portuguese government demanded Pedro's return. His response was a defiant act of disobedience. On January 9th, he declared, "If it is for the good of all and for the general happiness of the nation, tell the people that I will remain." This statement, known as the Fico, I stay, was a major turning point. It was a direct challenge to the Portuguese government and an affirmation of his commitment to Brazil. The separation from Portugal became unavoidable. Later, on September 7th, Pedro made the formal proclamation of Brazil's independence on the banks of the Ipiranga River. Now he was no longer Prince Pedro of Portugal, he was Dom Pedro I, Emperor of Brazil. The colony had become an empire. Dom Pedro I's reign as emperor was not without its difficulties. He faced pressure from various factions, including those who wanted more radical changes. He established a constitution, but his autocratic style created discontent. He was, in some ways, torn between his old European mindset and the needs of his new South American nation. Years of political conflict and growing dissatisfaction led to his abdication in 1831. He chose to return to Portugal, leaving his young son, Pedro II, as the next emperor of Brazil. His time in Brazil was tumultuous, but his actions fundamentally changed the power structure in the region.